Welcome back to the channel. Today I decided to review a historical book, and historical book is probably the right way to say it. Anyway, The Three Musketeers by Alexandre Dumas. So I first saw this as a movie, so I can't tell you how many years ago. The first movie adaptation I saw of The Three Musketeers was the one with Gene Kelly. So yes, very old. I'm not that old personally, but the movie belonged to my dad, and I used to enjoy watching old movies with him. So I watched The Three Musketeers with him. I don't remember when it was that I actually found out that The Three Musketeers was actually based on a novel. It could be around the time that Kiefer Sutherland and forget who else, Chris. He played Batman, or he played Robin in Batman and Robin, and anyway. O'Connell? No. Anyway, I will look that up. So anyway, I didn't realize that Chris O'Donnell. It had Charlie Sheen, Kiefer Sutherland, Oliver Platt, and Chris O'Donnell as the Three Musketeers. Apparently, that was a Disney adaptation, but yes, the first one I saw. Here we go. It had Van Heflin, Lana Turner, June Allison, Angela Lansbury, Vincent Price, and Gene Kelly. That's a 1948 adaptation. That was the first one I had seen. Anyway, I didn't find out until later that it actually came from a novel. And I believe this was one of the ones that my English teacher in high school. So my English teacher in high school, he had a list, and we had to do a book report each of the 4 terms we were in his class, and we had to pick from this list of classic books in order, and so if I remember right, that's when I read The Three Musketeers. But I read for that class Robinson Crusoe, Les Miserables, if I remember right, The Three Musketeers, and I don't remember what the 4th one was. But I did come away thinking I do not like classic novels. That's somewhat facetious. I really liked A Christmas Carol. Last of the Mohicans was okay. But, so, let me give you some background on The Three Musketeers. So, this is set in 1625 in France. The main protagonist for the story is D'Artagnan. He lives in Gascony. He leaves Gascony to travel to Paris to join the Musketeers. He has a letter of recommendation, and he, in the process of getting to Paris, his sword is broken, his letter is stolen. So when he arrives in Paris and applies to the Musketeers, they turn him away because he doesn't have that letter of recommendation. And they send him. It's not like they send him on his way and like, go away. We don't ever want to see you. He has to settle for a less prestigious appointment. They're like, go to this other place. They'll put you up. They'll train you. If you're good enough, then you can apply to join the Musketeers later. But the thing is that he sees this guy that basically he was the one who stole his letter and broke his sword. he sees him from the window of the place where he is, and so he rushes out to confront this man. And on the way, he runs into Athos, Porthos, and Aramis. Athos, Porthos, and Aramis are probably the three most famous of the Musketeers. And he doesn't know who they are. They're not in their uniforms or whatever. And so he runs into them. He offends them, trying to get to this guy. And in so doing, he has to duel them. They demand that everything be made right with a duel. So he arranges to meet them later. He goes out to meet Athos first, and in the process finds out that not only is he dueling musketeers, but they all know each other, and basically they're all seconds for each other. And so in the process of beginning to duel, the Cardinal Richelieu, who is the main antagonist for the Three Musketeers, his guards show up to arrest these four men for illegal dueling. They end up getting in a fight, and the Musketeers and D'Artagnan, they win. And he ends up being appointed because of this. He gets appointed to one of the king's guards, and so this is where he runs into Constance, with whom he later has an affair. Constance is one of the ladies in waiting for the Queen of France. And so this is where D'Artagnan gets pulled into the politics of what's going on during this time. So the Queen of France at this time is carrying on a romantic relationship with the Duke of Buckingham. So that is a huge problem, because she is married to King Louis XIV. And this is a huge problem. King Louis XIII. And the Cardinal Richelieu, wants to use this as a way to spark a war between England and France. And so what he does is the king is giving a party, and so he tells her that she has to wear these diamonds that he gifted to her. Well, the thing is that, and this is one of those things that's like a huge no-no. If you're going to be carrying on an affair, I would imagine this is huge. So the king gave these diamonds to the queen. The queen then re-gifted them to her lover, the Duke of Buckingham. And I don't know why you would do anything of that nature. Why would you re-gift a gift from, like, your husband, in this case, from your husband, who happens to be the king, to someone, and then hope that your husband never asks you about that gift ever again? Because the king Cardinal Richelieu knows what's going on, and he says, hey, the queen, you should make the queen wear those diamonds. It was a great gift. You should make her wear them to the party. And so she then is forced to try to recover the diamonds in order to not have a scandal. Throat's getting dry there. Well, this is also where we encounter Milady de Winter. She is one of the cardinal's henchmen, and the cardinal has sent her to England to recover the diamonds so that they can't be returned to the queen. And on top of that, the Athos, Porthos, Aramis, and D'Artagnan ride out to go to England to try to make it in time to bring the diamonds back to save everything that's going on. So this is only one of the things that goes on. There's a lot more that goes on here. There's an assassination plot that the Musketeers have to foil. There's a plot with Lady de Winter, with Milady de Winter. There is her actual true identity. There's a whole bunch of other stuff that's going on. One of the things, though, that I remembered that made this really boring to me was there's a scene in a bar later, and what happens is Athos wakes up D'Artagnan. D'Artagnan had been given a ring as a reward for his services, and it was a really nice ring. And Athos had started gambling, and he started losing. And then he woke D'Artagnan up to explain to him how he had won back their money. And it involved gambling with D'Artagnan's ring. And he said he divided the ring up into so many portions, and each portion was worth so much money. And so he had X amount of money to gamble with based on the size and the worth of D'Artagnan's ring. And D'Artagnan, getting upset for a legitimate reason that his friend had, or the man who he thought was his friend, had started gambling with his property. But it was one of those long, drawn out, why are we talking about this? It's not that the fact that he had gambled with D'Artagnan's ring, but the fact that he goes into detail on how he'd broken up the ring into so many segments, and how each segment he started gambling, and I gambled this segment away and I lost it, and then I gambled this segment away and I lost it, and then I gambled this segment away and I got this much back. And the thing is that if you watch the 1993, actually, if you watch almost any of the adaptations of the Three Musketeers, you're going to get a lot more action, a lot more of the plot moving along at a good pace than you will get from the novel. Unfortunately, the novel was written in a time where authors were paid by the word, and so it really paid more to pad out your story length with a lot of description and a lot of unnecessary filler. And so you have a lot of these older classics that are well written and good, but they're so boring because they include so much stuff that should have been cut, that should have just been edited out into oblivion. But at the time, it didn't make sense to edit that stuff out. It made sense to leave it in. So while I enjoy the Three Musketeers for what it is, I recommend actually watching the movie rather than reading the book. It's kind of funny. When I read Robinson Crusoe, I asked my teacher what I went up to him later and I said, I'm reading Robinson Crusoe, and he's like, oh, okay. And I said, have you read all the books on the list? And he says, yes, I have. And I looked at him and I said, what did you think of Robinson Crusoe? And he looked back at me and he said, the movie was better. So unfortunately, a lot of these things, a lot of these older books, while they are good, they are unnecessarily padded, and that, in my opinion, well, like with the Three Musketeers here, just dragged down the story way too much. Anyway, that's it for today. Like, subscribe, comment, as always. Put the bell on so you get notification, and enjoy what you're reading.